Hello friends, this is lesson number 2 on the plays of William Shakespeare. In the previous video we discussed the Two Gentlemen of Verona, and now in this lesson we shall start our discussion on the Taming of Shrew. Taming of the Shrew, that is a comedy by William Shakespeare. Now, by the title, if we try to understand, taming means control someone. And Shrew represents the heroine of the play. In this play, we have a heroine and the name is Katharina. And she is somewhat arguing and she is complaining. And nobody is able to control her behavior. But then we have a hero of the play and he manages to control her. So that is why the play is given the title as Taming of the Shrew. So this is the main plot line, but before the beginning of the play we have an introduction, and in that introduction we are introduced to some of the other characters which are not in the main plot line, which are not the part of the main storyline, but they are just coming in the appearance just before the beginning of the play, and they too are there to play some sort of a comedy. So what is that? Actually, there is a drunkard man, the name is Christopher Slay, and he is there in the house of a lady, and he has an argument with her, and in their quarrel the lady leaves the house and goes somewhere to the authorities. And as I mentioned that the man Christopher Slay, he is a drunkard, so he is not in his full senses, he is somewhat sleepy as well. And then comes the lord of the house. Lord means the master, the owner of the house. When he finds a drunkard man there, a beggar sort of person he is there, he decides to play a prank with him, to make fun of him, to make mockery of him. So what the lord of the house does, that he asks his servant to make that person, make the beggar believe that he is the owner of the house. You understand? That now the prank is played as the beggar, he is made to believe that he is the owner of the house, he is the lord. And there is a servant by the name Bartholomew, and this servant Bartholomew acts as the wife of the lord, means the wife of that Christopher Slay. So now they are playing a prank with him. After this, a troupe of actors, a group of actors, they appear on the stage and they are supposed to play the actual play, that is Taming of the Shrew. Now, by all this, what we understand, that Christopher Slay, that beggar, is now assuming himself as the lord of the house, and now he is believing that the play Taming of the Shrew is being played for him, and Bartholomew, the servant, he is acting as his wife. So this is the introduction of the play, where we have nothing about the main play. So now we come to the main plot line of the play, and which are the characters. So we shall discuss them one by one. So now in the main plot line we have, first there is a lady, the name is Katharina, and she is termed as Shrew. Why? Because in the family, her parents, even her sister, they are not able to control her behavior. Every time she is nagging, she is complaining, she is just disturbing others. So no one is there to tame her, to control her. She is the heroine of the play. She is the central character. Her father name is Baptista Minola, and he is the lord of Padua. Padua may be the name of a place, and so he's a renowned man. And he has another daughter as well. The eldest daughter is Katharina, and the younger daughter is Bianca. One thing again I say, as we did while discussing the two gentlemen from Verona, or I should say two gentlemen of Verona, the same way we shall discuss this play. We will not take all these characters in one go, we shall take them by their appearance. So one by one, as they appear, we shall discuss the things related to them. So far we know there is Caterina, her younger sister Bianca, and her father Baptista Minola. Now there are two suitors who are there to marry any of these girls. Their names are Gerimo and Hortensio. Gerimo or Gerimo, however you may pronounce this name, and Hortensio. They have already rejected Caterina because they don't want to marry that sort of a girl who is always nagging, complaining, the qualities I have already told you. Instead, they want to marry Bianca. Now, what is happening that the father, he is thinking that he will not marry the younger daughter Bianca unless or until the marriage of Caterina is fixed. So now the person Gerimo and Hortensio, they want to marry Bianca. So what they will do, they will help to arrange a patch up for the marriage of Caterina. So they are trying to produce or bring someone who could marry Caterina. Now, in the next development of the play, we are introduced to the another character, that is Lucentio. He comes to this town, Padua. He is well educated, and when he sees Bianca, he falls in love with her. So remember, there are already two suitors for her, Gerimo and Hortensio. But this guy, he comes and he falls in love with her. Now, Lucentio has a servant, and the name of the servant is Tranio. And by the development of the play, we come to know that Baptista is looking for a tutor for his daughters, both of daughters, to teach them. And we have Lucentio. He has come there for further study, and he is also a fully educated person. So he decides that to win the love of Lady Bianca, as I mentioned that Lucentio falls in love with the Lady Bianca. So to win her love, he decides that he will pretend as a teacher, as a school teacher, to teach the girl Bianca, so that he will be able to win her love. So he assumes the name as Cambio. So just pen down these names, whichever I am telling you, they are on the screen as well. And his servant Tranio, he pretends himself to be as Lucentio, as the part of the plan. So far what happened, again I repeat that Lucentio, he arrives in the city, and there we are introduced to this character. He has a servant named Tranio, and he has come there in the city for further education. On the other hand, we have the lord of the city. The name is Baptista Minola, and he is looking for the match for his elder daughter, that is Caterina, and she is the heroine or the character who is termed as Shrew, and she is not accepted by many of the suitors. And who are these people? Like Gerimo and Hortensio, they have already rejected her, and rather they have eye on Bianca. And then we have Lucentio. He assumes himself as a school teacher named Cambio to teach the girls. And then we have his servant Tranio. He pretends himself to be Lucentio. So remember these names, and now we have few more characters which will appear now. In the next scene we have another character, and the name is Petruchio. He too arrives from the city of Verona. So he is not a local guy of Padua. He arrives from Verona, and he has a servant with him. The name is Grumio. And one more thing, Petruchio is somewhat known to the character Hortensio. Now, who is Hortensio? Just to recall, he is a suitor. In the beginning, I told you that for Bianca. He wants to marry Bianca. So now Petruchio meets Hortensio, and Petruchio tells Hortensio that after the death of his father, whose father? Petruchio's father. After the death of his father, he is there to enjoy his life and he wants to marry someone. So Petruchio has come in the city to marry someone. Not pre-decided, but he is looking for someone. Now, hearing this, Hortensio decides that he will present Petruchio as a suitor for Katharina, so that it will help him, Hortensio, to marry Bianca. Before going into Katharina's house, Hortensio tells Petruchio everything about Katharina, that she is a shrew sort of person, or she is nagging, she is complaining, so how will he be able to control her? On the other hand, Petruchio is so confident. He wants that at least she should have a rich father, which of course she has. So he wants to marry her and he does not bother how complaining or nagging she is. So Petruchio is all set to win the love of the lady Katharina. Now, Hortensio, he disguises himself Licio or Litio. And who is Litio? He introduced himself as a music tutor for the girls. So remember, earlier we have Lucentio. He has disguised himself as Cambio, as the school teacher to teach those girls. The same way Hortensio is also planning that he should disguise himself as a music teacher. And now what happens, that Petruchio comes to the house with Hortensio. Hortensio is disguised as Litio, and Petruchio introduced Litio to the owner of the house, that is Baptista Minola, that yes, there is a music teacher for your girls. Now all the other main characters, they are in the house and now they are talking, because Lucentio disguised as Cambio, he is already there in the house and he is selected as a tutor for the girls. And after this, it is also declared that Petruchio is there to woo the love of the lady Katharina, and he confidently claims that he will win her love and will marry her. And all the other people like Grimo, Hortensio, Lucentio, they all are satisfied that yes, if it will be done, then the way for their marriage with Bianca, at least any of them, that will be clear, so that they could easily marry the girl. Now at this point, Tranio too enters the house. Again, try to recall who is Tranio. He is the servant of Lucentio, but he is now disguised as Lucentio himself, because it is the part of the plan proposed by Lucentio. So now Tranio comes there and he has a servant with him. Actually, that is the another servant of Lucentio, and the name of this servant is Biondello. Now, why this servant Tranio disguised as Lucentio is there? Because this servant, or disguised Lucentio I should say, is there to make his claim for Bianca. Earlier there were two suitors, known suitors like Grimo and Hortensio. Now it is also the plan of the boy or the guide Lucentio that if there is another suitor, third suitor, then there will be more competition. So it will take more time for the settlement, who will win the love of the lady. So by this Lucentio, the original Lucentio who is disguised as teacher, he will get more time to win the love of the lady Bianca. I hope you must be understanding now what sort of a situation is becoming. Lucentio has planned that he will secretly try to win the love of the lady Bianca, but he will create one more suitor for Bianca, who will appear on the stage, who will come to the owner of the house, Baptista, that he is also there to marry the girl. Earlier there were Grimo and Hortensio, now the third suitor. So by this I think the father will take more time to take a decision, and it will help Lucentio, original Lucentio, to win the love of the lady. After this, in the another scene, Petruchio is shown on the stage and he is there to win the love of the lady Katharina. Remember that he is already with the mindset that he wants to marry the girl because she has some rich property. The traits of his character are presented. He is too good to become angry and he is too quick to control his anger and to laugh. Earlier, Katharina resisted. She was not under his control, but then he managed to control her, and finally the wedding is set up of Petruchio and Katharina. During the ceremony, Petruchio strikes the priest and then drinks the communion wine. What is this? Actually, it is a reserve wine which is for the clergy and it is for the ceremony. But what Petruchio does, he drinks that wine and then behave angrily and arrogantly. So after this, he takes Katharina with him against her will. Katharina is not willing to go, but he takes her with him. By this marriage, it is also declared that he will get a healthy dowry. Whom? Mr. Petruchio. And he calls Katharina as Kate. Earlier she contradicts, but now she is accepting him quite a lot. On the other hand, we have these suitors like Gremio and Tranio. Who is Tranio? Disguised as Lucentio. So Tranio and Gremio, they are again looking to win the hand of Bianca. And then Baptista. Now he is talking to these suitors. So he is talking first to Lucentio. Who is Lucentio? That is disguised Tranio. That is not actual Lucentio, that is the servant. And Baptista, he wants to meet Lucentio's father. Now Tranio, he is looking for someone who could play the role of Lucentio's father, and the name of Lucentio's father is Vincentio. So now the story is going in the two different plots. In the one plot we have everything is almost settled, where Petruchio has been married to Katharina and almost their mutual understanding is also well settled. On the other hand, in the other plot we have Bianca and there are three suitors. Tranio disguised as Lucentio, that is actually the part of the plan, you know, that is a dummy candidate for her. And other two are Gremio and Hortensio. And behind the back of the father Baptista we have actual Lucentio, who is disguised as a teacher and he is trying to win the love of the lady Bianca. One more thing, Petruchio has taken Katharina to Verona. Remember, he has come from Verona, the city, and there in Verona Petruchio is still continuing to tame Katharina. How? Actually, he does not allow her to do anything of her choice. He does not allow her to eat or to dress as she wants, or even to do any sort of a thing according to her wishes. He does not allow her. He rejects everything by saying that it is not good for her. He rejects even the perfect things, and then he forces her to get agree to him even on absurd things, like if he says sun is moon, then she will have to agree with him that yes, sun is moon. And there is a one quote, if you please to call it a rush candle, henceforth it shall be so for me. So she is getting agreed, and by this we are getting that he is taming the shrew. Now, by this moment we can understand one thing, that Baptista is quite interested in Lucentio, because he is talking to that dummy Lucentio. He is inquiring about his father, and he prefers Lucentio over the other characters or the other suitors like Gerimo and Hortensio. And Petruchio and Caterina are coming back to Padua. Why? For Bianca's marriage. And on the way, they meet the real Vincentio. Who is Vincentio? He is the father of the real Lucentio. And as I mentioned earlier that he has tamed her, he is getting agreed Caterina to assume whatever he says, she is taking it as a truth. So when they meet Vincentio, he tells her that Vincentio is a woman. She agrees. And later Petruchio tells her again that Vincentio is a man. So she again agrees and apologizes to Vincentio for considering him as women. So it is just one example that she is simply following the every command of her husband. On the other hand, in Padua, what is happening? The dummy Lucentio and the actual Lucentio both are planning to present a pedant, any unknown person, you can say any ordinary person, as his father Vincentio. So that dummy character Vincentio confirms the dowry with Baptista, and now Baptista is agreed to marry Bianca to Lucentio. The marriage is settled between the dummy Lucentio and Bianca, and the father is fully agreed. But on the other hand, Bianca, who is now secretly in love with the original Lucentio, and both they plan secretly to get married. Bianca is secretly going to marry the real Lucentio. And when the real Vincentio, he reaches in Padua, and there he meets the duplicate Vincentio, and also finds there is Tranio as the duplicate Lucentio, and also claims that duplicate Vincentio as his father. I think you understand everything, that the real Vincentio is now getting confused that Lucentio, that is not his son, because that is actually Tranio. Moreover this, the police is called to arrest the real Vincentio, because nobody believes him that yes, he is Vincentio. And then we have the appearance of Lucentio, who is now married to Bianca. And the two fathers, Baptista and Vincentio, they are completely confused, they are bewildered, they do not know what is happening, or what is all these things, or what is all that they do not know, or going secretly. Then Lucentio tells everything to them, that yes, he is the real man, he is the real son of Vincentio, and he tells them everything about his plan, that what he did and why he did so. And the two fathers eventually they forgive him. So now I think everything is settled. Lucentio, original Lucentio, is married to Bianca. Petruchio is already married to Caterina. And one more settlement is made, that is Hortensio marries a rich widow. So now we have three pairs, And in the final scene we have these three couples, Hortensio and that lady widow whom he married, Licentio and Bianca, and then Petruchio and Caterina. And there comes one big question: whose wife is more obedient? And there comes a bet, and Petruchio sends a servant. In fact, Petruchio proposes a bet that everyone, each of these three people, the men, they will send a servant to call each of their wives and to see that whose wife is most obedient to the call. And as a result, what we see that Caterina, she responds so obediently, and Petruchio wins the bet. And she gives the other wives a good speech how to be obedient to their husband. So what we see that the theme of the Shrew is realized. Shrew has been tamed, and everyone applauds Petruchio for taming that Shrew. But one more thing about this play, that this play was questioned for the misogynistic elements or themes, means hating women, disliking women, and even taming women. So many critics, they were against the theme of this play. So one thing you should do as you have gone through the brief story of the play, remember the main characters. Petruchio, and he eventually weds Caterina. Then we have Lucentio, his servant Tranio, and Lucentio marry Bianca. Remember the father who is Baptista Minola, and the father of Lucentio is Vincentio. Once there was a question in UGC NET exam that, in fact it was in December 2021, that which of the Shakespearean play is constructed with the concept of play within the play. Now, do you see that this play has the concept of play within the play? Go to the things in the beginning which I told you, and we see that this play of all these characters of Petruchio and Lucentio or Bianca and Caterina, this play is performed before the character Christopher Slay. So yes, it has the concept of the play within the play. Okay, there were other options like Midsummer Night's Dream, and then Comedy of Errors, and Love's Labour's Lost. So the right option is Taming of the Shrew. There have been other questions as well, but in the given options, Taming of the Shrew wasn't the answer, so that is why we will not consider those questions. So this is all for this lesson. Thanks a lot for watching this lesson. Have a great day.